Thank you so much for joining me today. I am so excited to share with you why the year 2022 is the year of SMS marketing. And of course, shout out to Hawk Media for allowing me to join this conversation today and show you everything that I have prepared. So, of course, I want to introduce myself. Hey guys, I'm Alana. I am an SMS marketing specialist over here at Yotpo, and I've been working with our SMS platform for the last year and a half. Of course, you probably know Yotpo as the review solution. We actually just celebrated our 10-year anniversary. And since then, we've been innovating to create engaging relationships for brands and their consumers with a few different kinds of products, like visual UGC, loyalty, referrals. But today, we're going to focus on SMS in specific. I'm sure there is no denying it that the e-commerce landscape has completely changed in the last 2 years. In the last year, even more so, as we adjusted and acclimated to a new way of reaching out to our customers. We've adapted pretty drastically. And with that, 2021 has given us a new consumer that we need to engage with versus the consumer we had in 2019. 2021 was absolutely a year of massive change, from ongoing shifts in privacy policy, evolving consumer expectations, and new purchasing behaviors. The customer is different, and brands are going to need to adapt to this new world of e-commerce. The biggest shift, though, that I think you guys will see time and time again is that e-commerce has now become mobile commerce. Mobile is the preferred shopping channel. 67% of purchases are happening on a mobile device. That is different than where it was last year and even the year before. Consumers are actively switching to mobile as their preferred shopping channel. But the omni-channel purchase journey is also equally as important because the omni-channel marketing is the norm for the buyer's journey. It takes an average of about 6 touch points before a buyer completes their purchase. So keep in mind, we need to make sure we're touching customers wherever they need, whether it be in-store, online, or in retail. There's also been a pretty big shift in terms of privacy. Third-party cookies and the decline of cookies and data accessibility means that brands need to find new ways to collect data and engage customers. These shifts are continuously happening, and I'll talk about one of the major shifts happening later in today's conference. And then lastly, value-driven engagements. Customers want to feel loved. I know that there's so many brands in every single vertical all fighting for that customer to be loyal to just them. And customers want to feel valued. They want to feel loved. They want to know that you are the brand that has made the effort to build a relationship with them. And that does really affect lifetime value. So we need to make sure that we're offering true value in exchange for this customer's loyalty. So, I mean, the modern consumer is mobile. 79% of customers shop on their phones, which is a massive, massive number. More customers are shopping on their phones than ever before. And people check their phones about 150 times a day, which might sound crazy, but 150 times a day is actually really accurate. And people spend roughly 4 to 6 hours a day on their phone. Now, some of you might be like, Alana, that's wild. I definitely don't spend 4 to 6 hours a day on my phone. Check your screen time. Do me a favor, open up your settings in your phone, look at your screen time, and you will be completely shocked at how much time we invest in spending on our phone. But with the modern consumer being mobile, they're different than the consumer we had in 2019. The 2019 consumer was different. The 2021 and on to 2022 will also be very different because they expect different things. So they want everything at their fingertips. If I have to go try to find information, go through a Google search, try to search for this brand that maybe I saw at some point, a lot more difficult for me to engage. Customers want everything right there, right in front of them. And luckily, mobile lends itself to that. But we also need to really be immediate. If it takes me, 10 seconds for a page to load, there's a much higher chance I'll bounce. So the more immediate customers can get the information they need, the better. They also want this content to be relevant. If I'm getting some sort of marketing or something that has nothing to do with who I am, it's very easy for me to bounce, go somewhere else, and find what I need. So immediacy and relevancy will be two really, really key components as we go through today, because it's really what changes and shapes the mobile consumer and how we can get them attached and loyal. The last 4 bullets are also pretty important. Real-time interaction. Customers want to know that if they interact with you, that they're going to get something in return that is honest, that is true, that makes them stay loyal to you. Personalized content. Let's say I have dry skin and I'm only seeing email marketing about oily skin. There is a much higher chance I'll unsubscribe or I'll detach from the brand because the content has nothing to do with me and who I am. We need to make sure the content that the customer receiving has to do with them. This also, again, if the content is relevant, it becomes memorable. The end user wants something that they go, oh, wow, wait, I remember that brand did something special for me. Let me go see what they're up to. And then lastly, engaging experiences. We need to engage with this customer in ways that we never have before because they are different. They are a mobile customer. And before, the 2019 customer, again, very different. Brands over the next decade will only succeed if they meet customers where they are. Where they are is their phones. And they need to begin to prioritize the needs of the mobile customer. You guys are already doing a lot of this today. You are doing so much to help the mobile consumer without even noticing, but missing a key element on how to engage them. We know that you guys are doing so much today to build the mobile experience so that customers are happy and excited when they come to the site. You are already investing in so many ways to help the mobile consumer shop. And of course, that lends itself to the 67% of purchases typically happening over the mobile device. So, mobile friendly. I know almost every website I look at is mobile friendly, with product pages that automatically adjust to me when I'm viewing the page, when shopping carts are easy for me to access and add. Mobile friendly websites are the future. And it's all designed around that mobile customer to give them an incredible experience. Load time. We need to also make sure that these web pages are loading fast to increase mobile traffic, decrease bounce, and increase engagement. I know there's not a single conversation I have where someone says, I'm okay with a page taking 10 seconds to load. It's unacceptable nowadays. So again, if I have to wait 10 seconds for a page to load, I'm super ADD and I'll just click out of it and I'll find something else to do with my time. So the faster the load times are, the better. And you guys are already doing this. Payment. Again, I'm a millennial. And if I have to walk across my apartment, open up my bag, pull out my wallet and look at my credit card, that's a lot of effort for me. It really isn't. But in my mind, it's like a hike. So the easier we can make the mobile checkout experience, the quicker I'll actually purchase. So you guys are already optimizing things like Apple Pay, Shop Pay, storing my credit card from prior purchases in my checkout experience, all so that I can easily complete that transaction and not bounce. And lastly, I've seen so many mobile apps for brands nowadays, which is so incredible. You guys are actively branding and becoming a constant thing on your consumers' phones. You know that customers are on their phones, so you're building these mobile apps to drive that touch point and drive that exposure. But that's only one piece to the puzzle. You were already doing all these things to create the mobile experience, but now we need to engage them. We need to take a step further and really create personalized, relevant, and memorable experiences. Again, the mobile consumer is different than our 2019 consumer. So we need to focus on what kind of experiences, what kind of relevant information can we use so that that mobile user is really, really driving back to the site and engaging with you. So we should be helping mobile customers engage better. And the typical way that we've done this is through email. Email has been the #1 channel in which we engage with customers. Brands send so many emails every day to update customers on new product releases or initiatives. But Apple has made a pretty big change. The recent iOS 15 change emphasizes that mobile consumers are the future. And we need to really change the way in which we're engaging with them because of these iOS 15 changes. It is going to be tougher for brands to understand the data behind their email marketing. And that's all because the iOS 15 change is beginning to protect the mobile consumer because it's becoming their main way of engaging with brands. So for those of you who don't know, Apple is updating their iOS. And with that iOS change comes a lot of additional privacy policies for email. So for example, accurately tracking open rates will be much, much more difficult. A brand will not know how many times a customer has opened an email with this change. Geo-targeting, online activity, and location of the customer will now become limited. And then finally, there becomes a hide my email functionality on my mail app, which allows me to hide my email from the brands in which I am receiving marketing from. All of these changes are pretty big. This is probably the largest change to email marketing that there's been in the last 5 to 10 years. Because of this change, brands now need to figure out a new way of how to interact with their customers. And marketers need to get creative on how we can engage with them. How can we make these meaningful relationships when the #1 channel we've used is no longer as effective as it used to be? And we over here at Yotpo think that SMS is the way to go. The iOS changes are targeting the mobile consumer. So if SMS is this incredible engagement channel, we should begin to use it. 89% of mobile customers want to receive text from their brands. That is the way that the mobile consumer wants to receive information, 89%. And mobile consumers spend roughly 2 times more time texting than they do emailing. So we should look at SMS as the way in which we engage our consumers. And mobile customers do prefer text messaging. Texting empowers brands to meet customers where we know where they are. It helps craft mobile experiences to enable and engage and connect with customers like never before. It helps spark personalized consumer relationships that drive sales and lifetime value. Yotpo SMS really does believe that we can really make these unbeatable SMS experiences for the mobile shopper. And we wanted to figure out specifically what customers wanted in SMS. What did they expect from brands? And we set out to figure it out. We took a really strong stance to make sure that when we're being the market leaders in SMS, that we know exactly what the customer wants. So we created a giant survey. We surveyed over 2,000 people across 6 different age groups from US, Australia, and the UK. These surveys also allowed for customers to write about what they expected, what did they want, what did they need when they were receiving texts, and the key points behind it. I'm going to show you some of the key points that I took away from it, but this consumer survey report is actually live on the Yotpo website. So if you want to dive in and see even more stats and even more details on what I'm sharing with you today, that entire survey is live for you to use and help begin to craft your strategy around real-time information from real customers. So how do shoppers actually want to be texted? And there's about 7 different key takeaways that we presented here today. I'm going to touch on a few that I think is most important for me. But keep in mind, all of these were really important takeaways that the consumer shared on this survey. The first is that shoppers are selective. Only around 41% of shoppers are signed up for SMS, and they typically hover between 1 to 4 brands that they're opted into. Now, most customers are in some form of an SMS program, but 1 to 4 is a really, really small number that the customer is giving their SMS consent to. So we need to figure out, how are we going to get a seat at the table if on average customers have 1 to 4 brands that they're opted into? How can we become one of those 4 brands? A lot of it's with something in return. Customers want to know, what are they going to get when they join this SMS program? Is it going to be valuable to them? Is it going to offer them short-term and long-term incentives that make them want to stay subscribed and get that immediate and relevant information from you? So maybe it's something like a one-time discount, drives that immediate purchase. Or maybe it's more long-term, experiential, or relationship-building texts that really build that lifetime value. On average, 23% of customers will opt into SMS before their first purchase, 32% after their first purchase, and 18% after a few. So something in return, we can get really creative so that we're not just offering only discounts, but offering an experience that really enlightens and drives that relationship. Finally, on this slide is need for speed. I keep talking about immediacy and relevancy being the key factors that drive the mobile consumer. And 44% of shoppers prefer SMS because of its convenience and because of its immediacy. With the holidays coming up, we're all prepping for Black Friday, Cyber Monday. And I know that we have our email cadences figured out, and we're going to need to figure out how to cut through the noise when every single brand is trying to get that customer to transact and make a purchase. SMS has a 98% open rate. 90% of texts are open in 3 minutes. How many emails have you sent that get opened where 90% of them are opened in 3 minutes? Probably far and few. SMS is super, super direct, and it really does help cut through the noise and message customers where we know where they are. But also, the need for speed is great for a holiday because I'm buying gifts. I need to know when they're going to arrive. So things like order confirmation texts, tracking numbers, or delivery notifications via text are all really, really great ways to increase communication with me as the end user, so I know where my packages are. I know exactly when I'm going to get them so I can gift them appropriately and not worry about them being delayed. So need for speed, really great because, again, direct and convenient. But also, on the flip side, it's helping increase communication during the busiest time of year. The last 2 areas I want to focus on is 6 and 7, and they actually do juxtapose one another. The first for 6 is engaging and exclusive. 7 is no spam. So we're walking a really fine line here for how are we crafting these engaging, meaningful experiences without ever over inundating our customers with too many messages that are not relevant. So for 6, 56% of shoppers would be encouraged to purchase if they received a personalized offer via text. If we can personalize the message that a customer gets, they're more likely to convert. If you send me a text about a sale every single day, I'm more likely to unsubscribe than if you send me 2 messages based on my hair type, my skin type, my fashion, my likes, my interests, or my shopping behaviors. So we're going to craft this engaging and exclusive club with SMS that anyone can join, but the messaging that I receive has to do with me. with a 98% open rate and having it be extraordinarily immediate, the more relevant and engaging that content is, which you know I will see, the more likely I'll transact. But on the flip side, it's also very easy to lose a customer if we are spamming them. I had said on the previous slide that we have 4 seats at the table for that consumer to opt in. And while we have to work to earn that trust and create this beautiful program that customers want to join and opt into, we're putting an effort to generate subscribers, but it's much, much easier to lose them if we're sending them messages that are impersonalized and have nothing to do with the end user. So, no spam. Over 65% of customers would opt out of text if they receive too many. Again, if you're texting every single day about irrelevant content that you're already sending via email, there's a higher chance you're going to lose me. And 54% would opt out if the texts they receive are not helpful. So we need to be sending helpful texts that really, really create those experiences that we've been discussing. So 6 and 7 kind of going against one another. So no spam. That is probably the number one piece that I resonate with, because if I get texts every day, I probably will unsubscribe, because I will make sure that, the messages I'm getting should have to do with me. So how are we going to help with these bullets 1 through 7? The consumer survey told us exactly what these customers want. So how does SMS marketing specifically help? And where does Yotpo SMS give you the tools to accomplish all of these incredible initiatives and needs that the customer wants? Personalized conversations. SMS is a medium in which people communicate back and forth pretty quickly. And we allow you to converse back and forth with customers, so that way you can really meet them where they are, help them if they need it. And if I texted with my favorite brand, there's a much higher chance I'll stay loyal to them because I know they care about me and my needs. I'll show you an example of personalized conversations a little bit later on. One of our clients, Alkaline Herb Shop, used personalized conversations to educate customers and help them figure out specifically what kinds of products were perfect for the customer. Everything at their fingertips. SMS marketing, again, has that immediate, relevant kind of communication. So if we can easily share newsletters, initiatives, specific products just for this customer, and they get it right away, it crafts this really awesome experience. Immediacy. Again, overarching theme here, we need to be immediate. And SMS cuts through the noise. On Black Friday, Cyber Monday, I expect to have 100 emails in my inbox. And the chances that I will read all of them are slim to none. However, SMS's 98% open rate helps a lot with that immediacy. So I know exactly where to go and where to focus my attention. Tailored engagements. Personalization is huge. If you text me every single day about a sale, and maybe I purchased yesterday, and then you text me today about a sale, I'll be so upset because I would have just made a purchase, and now you're telling me that the product I just bought is now discounted. Your SMSs should acknowledge your customers' buyer history. Your SMSs should know what I've purchased in the past, when I've purchased in the past, how much I've purchased in the past, so that the next communication is reflective of that. It would be better that I get a, hey, thanks for making your purchase text, as opposed to another sale promotion, because then I know that you know that I made a purchase. If you send me a text about a sale on the product I just made, pretty off-putting experience. And then lastly, exclusivity. And I don't want to mix exclusivity with discounting, because SMS, while promos are great and while they allow you to incentivize you to join the program, the exclusivity of SMS drives a huge amount of revenue. I'll show you another brand later on called Princess Polly, who used SMS so exclusively to their loyalty members that it drove such a high ROI. All of these different pieces are for you to understand that we are actively taking the feedback of our consumer survey and actively applying it. So that way we're being thoughtful and we're understanding what you need to create these meaningful relationships. So here's how leading direct-to-consumer brands are using SMS to engage with their mobile consumers. I'm going to show you 4 different brands. The first will focus mainly on revenue that they saw from SMS. The second is how a brand created an exclusive club without discounting. The third is how loyalty and SMS were tightly intertwined to drive immediate revenue from their best loved customers. And then finally, how we're using SMS in a one-on-one communication to increase education and build lifetime value. So the first, Parks Project. Parks Project is an incredible brand that's dedicated to helping their national parks. And they found that SMS had a higher revenue value per customer on SMS than email. SMS lists tend to be smaller than email lists. It's a much finer group because it is opt-in only. And the fact that they are able to pull more revenue per customer on SMS than email is a massive thing to look into. They have an 80 times ROI on their exclusive sale announcements. So giving their SMS customers first peek into new products or new releases and exclusive sales. Only SMS customers get access to this. 51% conversion on their welcome flow. Customers are opting in and then immediately making a purchase off of that opt-in. Huge. Lastly, 39% conversion on their abandoned cart flow. When the customers were leaving their product, we texted them. And that immediacy and relevancy drove them back to the site to finalize their purchase. Tyler said SMS is very effective. There's no other marketing channel you can invest in and get more out in return. It is truly a high generating ROI channel, and they use the feedback via SMS to craft more experiences. And they focus a lot now on driving more subscribers because of how effective it's been. So I want to show you some examples of what they did. They allowed for new sales back in stock updates to be triggered via SMS. So when they had some best sellers come out or when they wanted to share something about what they were doing for national parks, they let SMS be the medium in which they communicated. They A/B tested a little bit to figure out what iteration, what copy, what image made the most sense. And with these kinds of promos, they had an 80 times ROI on exclusive SMS announcements, treating the SMS audience with unique mobile-only offers. So here you can see that they're saying save 20%. This is an offer they only gave to their SMS subscribers. They didn't translate this via email. And just to make a point there, your SMS strategy should be different than your email. You shouldn't be communicating the exact same promo via SMS via email. We need to create this exclusive club so that I know that if I opt into SMS, I am getting access to things that no one else can. And it really, really does work. 80 times ROI on mobile-only offers. I also love that they incorporate a little bit about their branding and what they stand for. Also, thanks to you, we just hit over $1 million in giving back to the parks. They also do some new releases. So they offer to bringing home the sense of your favorite national parks, which I think is really, really cool. You can grab them here. When I click on this link, it automatically takes me to the product page of the actual page or product that I'm speaking of. And if you wanted a discount to incorporate in this, we would auto apply the discount to their cart. So there's no copying and pasting or fussing around to try to find the discount and add it. We make it streamlined and easy. So that way customers don't have to worry about finding a discount to apply. we automatically apply it for you. LSKD, slightly different brand. And what I loved about them is they spend so much time focusing on subscriber growth. SMS by nature is opt-in only. So we need to generate subscribers and incentivize them to not only opt in, but stay with us time and time again. So the first task is generating the subscriber. The second task is retaining them. So they found that they had a 310% month-over-month subscriber growth. The reason why is the only discount they offer is in their welcome pop-up. They offer 10%. You can't get a 10% for LSKD products anywhere else. So immediately customers are like, wow, okay, one-time discount, let me get access to it. But obviously indicative, they have an 89% conversion on their welcome flow. So customers receiving that 10% immediately make a purchase because they know it's an exclusive club. But then we also need to focus on retaining that customer and actually how we're going to keep them with us over and over again because they already used their one-time discount. 81% ROI on their flows. Jason, the founder, said, SMS is a long-term success plan for them. They were doing one-off campaign blasts before that weren't really reaching their customers in the way that they would have hoped. But now they can actively incorporate feedback so that way the flows are triggered and regularly plan to the community that needs it. So how did they generate so many subscribers? That 10% is huge. But what they did that was very, very unique is because they don't really discount, they needed to offer something very specific that was exclusive, but not cutting into their margins. And what they offered is early access to all new products, early access to drops. So they created lifetime value off their customers by creating an exclusive SMS program where you get access to information at your fingertips immediately. They use a ton of different growth tools to generate subscribers, all the way from the pop-up, which you see here, checkout, social channels by texting a keyword, like texting LSKD to this 5-digit number to join your SMS program, as well as their loyalty program with Yotpo. Their SMS members get unique product drops as their main benefit, and it drives over 60 times ROI. These numbers are not something to sleep on. SMS is driving revenue immediately without needing to discount. Princess Polly. Switching gears into the third of the 4 case studies that I'm going to show you. And Princess Polly really tightly used a few other Yotpo solutions to craft these engaging mobile experiences. They are using us for reviews, loyalty, and SMS. And they tightly intertwine all the platforms to maximize the revenue per customer. Their SMS is one of their highest revenue generating channels. It drives a 64 times ROI. Princess Polly also made $4 million in revenue in 3 months. That is incredible. They constantly have high subscriber growth as well as conversions on the welcome flow. So customers are opting in, they're using their welcome discount, but now we need to also, again, same challenge of retaining the customer without being spammy, without over inundating, but sending the right message at the right time to keep them subscribed for longer and keeping you at the forefront of the brands they're opted into. Kim said SMS has been able to support all of our marketing initiatives. They really use SMS for exclusive sales. The ROI is truly incredible. I am a Princess Polly SMS subscriber, and they truly do send unique communications only to their SMS customers. I'm opted into both of their marketing channels, email and SMS, and I always engage with their SMSs because it incorporates my first name, my point balance. It lets me know that they are thinking about me prior to hitting send on that campaign. They also use loyalty really tightly with their SMS platform because they found that their loyal customers preferred SMS as their communication channel. They really create these most unique experiences with their most loyal customers, and they use it to drive non-loyalty customers to join their loyalty program. So if I wasn't a subscriber, if I didn't have a loyalty account, they would use SMS to say, hey, make sure you create an account, like, come on. And once they created their account, they were more loyal to Princess Polly, and they also tended to engage a lot more with the text, all of which increased the lifetime value of that customer. 50% of their VIP customers are already signed up for SMS. Because they're loyal, they want to receive communication via text. A 10.3 times higher ROI on SMS engagements to loyalty customers. Their loyalty customers purchase more off of SMS campaigns than their non-loyalty customers, showing the health of this group as well as the immediacy of their transactions. So here you can see they have their Princess Polly USA, our secret SMS sales starts now. I love this because when I get a text that's specific to me for my exclusive participation in the SMS program, I get access to 20% off. And again, being mobile friendly, this link automatically would apply the 20% to my checkout. So I can just shop, I can easily convert, and then you have me as another purchaser. The last brand I want to show you is Alkaline Herb Shop. And they use SMS as a really unique way of educating their customers on their products. Alkaline Herb Shop is a supplement wellness brand who uses their products to better the day-to-day life of their customer with really thoughtfully crafted products. They use SMS to educate. And I'll talk a little bit more about how Suhail and her team uses SMS for those one-on-one conversations. But their marketing campaigns, they have 160 times ROI. Again, don't sleep on these numbers. If you can't tell, this is a consistently high ROI across all the brands I'm discussing. 20% month over month growth in revenue. 20% revenue every month. I mean, these numbers are incredible. Suhail said her most loyal customers appreciate SMS and give them the ability to engage like they never could before. SMS with Yotpo has created personalized conversations that spark and sustain customer relationships, engaging at the most impactful points in the buyer journey. So what is she doing? Her and her team have facilitated an incredible way to one-on-one converse with their customers using Yotpo SMS. It allows Suhail and her team to humanize themselves because they're selling products like hydrangea root powder and Damio loose leaf. If I've never purchased with Alkaline Herb Shops, I could look at this product and say, I don't know what would be best for me. I don't know what combination of these different powders would help me with my needs. So Suhail and her team set out to actually converse with customers and educate them on what products and combinations of products would best help that customer. Over 70% engagement rate by SMS by using tailored messages and having one-on-one conversations with their customers. So she's using SMS more on the engagement side, more on the relationship side, more for long-term success as opposed to an immediate discount. She's building relationships using the medium in which her customers prefer to communicate. SMS is the fastest revenue channel for brands. Over 20% of revenue from e-commerce brands comes from SMS. This is so incredible for you to know and to have. It's money. It is by far an immediate way to generate revenue. And I personally think this number is low compared to all the other ROI stats I've shown you here today, but to keep it conservative, 25 times plus ROI on SMS as a marketing channel. So what do you guys want to know about SMS? Very excited to answer a few questions from you guys so that way I can best help with some, really incredible ways to craft strategies. So Let's see here. What's a good attribution window for SMS? That's a really great question. Attribution, in my opinion, because SMS is so immediate, I recommend probably around 5 days. For tighter windows such as Black Friday or Cyber Monday, I'd recommend 3, because we want to know that SMS is the channel in which customers are purchasing from. So attribution, really important. It's also important that you have things like custom UTM parameters and custom attribution windows so that you know exactly where that sale is coming from and you know the revenue coming from SMS. Let's see. What are some SMS best practices for a brand in pre-launch when there isn't quite much to say yet? How much of that brand launches as what about a brand that launches as a pre-order? Cool. So for a brand that hasn't even launched yet, start generating subscribers. Use SMS as the tool in which you can shout to the world and say, hey, look at what we're doing. SMS by nature is an opt-in only platform. So I would recommend generating subscribers immediately. And if it's a pre-order product that hasn't been released yet, use SMS to educate your customers. Have a one-on-one communication with them. Speak with them about what they need and maybe answer questions that they have on the product. You have this incredible one-on-one communication with them. So pre-order products don't have the brand advocacy yet. Use SMS to build that. Is it too late to launch SMS for Black Friday, Cyber Monday? You can start right now. SMS, you do, again, granted, you do need subscribers to grow your SMS list. We could begin that today with social opt-in, QR code. Maybe you want to do a dynamic pop-up. Maybe we do an email campaign to all of your customers saying, join our SMS program for first look at our Black Friday, Cyber Monday promotions. Get started now. If by chance you start the day before Black Friday, that's okay too, because with the increase in traffic that you will receive, you're going to generate more subscribers on the day of Black Friday. So take advantage of your increase in traffic. Use SMS to explore the different promos that you have. It's a really incredible channel for that. Okay. Considering, you guys have some really good questions. Let's do this one. How can you create personalized SMS marketing with limited access with the new iOS? How is retrieving data any different with SMS than with email? So it's a really, really good question. It's important to make sure that the SMS solution you have tightly intertwines with your e-commerce platform. That way, the SMS platform can use purchasing data, transactional behavior, prior to ever sending a message to give you the data you need to sending something. So if I know your average order value, how many times I've purchased, when have I purchased, what have I purchased, all of that luckily also lives in Shopify if you are using Shopify. So using that kind of data that you have natively in your e-commerce platform, and then also SMS specific data. We can track whether someone's clicked a text or if they've purchased off a campaign, or what did I reply in a conversational flow. We can still collect data via SMS, and it is first-party data. One of my favorite tools with Yotpo SMS is the ability to have a conversational flow. The conversational flow can ask for customer preferences, like what's your skin type, your skin concerns, your hair type, your hair concerns, your fashion preferences, all of which get saved so that later on you can use that data to send a text to a specific group. Let's see here, we have about 10 minutes left. My audience tends to skew older. Can SMS still be effective? Absolutely. My father is probably the best example of this. He is the king of understanding abandoned carts. He had almost made a purchase, and then he got a text that said, hey, complete your purchase. super, super easy for him to click on the link and then make a transaction happen. He loved this because he forgot to make a purchase off the cart. And he was like, okay, I'm just able to get a discount that automatically applies just because I forgot. Let me go back and make that purchase. So maybe my dad is super, flexible with phones, and he knows how to text, even though he tells me to stop texting him as much as I do. But he uses text all the time to help convert. And he's only opted into a few brands. It tends to be the ones that he loves the most, that he engages with the most. So the brand that he bought from was a protein shake that he drinks quickly on the way to work. And he has a pretty good stock of it now, all because he received an abandoned cart text. I hope that answered your question. How important is personalization in SMS? I often see pop-ups capture phone number rather than phone number and name. Good point. So I would recommend using a provider that can understand the first name of a customer after the first purchase. There are pop-ups that will allow for first name as well, that will embed typically in like a Shopify customer profile. But sometimes even just understanding their tier or how many points they have or whether or not they've purchased with you before is enough. So maybe you've never purchased with me before and I don't have your name. I'd recommend saying, hey there, thanks for subscribing to our SMS program. Being that you've never purchased with us before, we'd like to learn a little bit more about you. So while we might not be able to personalize immediately with their first name, we can actually understand their purchasing habits with the brand to craft that personalized experience. Highly recommend you do it. And then after their first purchase, of course, we can incorporate their first name anywhere you would like. And if your pop-up does also collect a name as well, great, you're ahead of the game. I am worried that SMS will be seen as spam. How can I ensure my customers have a great experience with SMS? That's a really great question. So SMS, again, walks that fine line of being, super immediate and super intimate, while also still having that ability of being overwhelming. I know for a fact that I get way too many texts. I love to see what other brands are doing and the strategies they're using. But there are some brands that text me every single day. I do not purchase every single day. As much as I wish I could, I do not purchase from brands every single day. So 2 things I'd recommend. The first is that you have a contact card. Contact cards are a great way to make sure that your messages don't go to spam. It allows customers to save the number that they're getting the text from, to add it to their contact list. So that way they are good to go, always have the number saved, and they know where it's coming from. The second is that you use your consumer data prior to sending a message. If I've purchased in the last week and it was my first purchase from you, maybe don't send me a campaign. But if I spent over $500 from you and I purchased in the last week, maybe that's the customer to send an upsell text to. There is always, of course, that fine line that we're walking. I typically recommend 2 campaigns a week, probably around 8 texts a month as best practice, and segmenting within those 8 campaigns. So not every single customer is getting hit with all 8 campaigns, but only the ones that matter to them. And also reducing spam by layering in segments and personalization really does help the message land better and impact the customers more. All right, we got a few more good ones. I don't have any new SMS subscribers. How hard is it to collect subscribers? Well, like I said, we're trying to get that seat at the table. We're trying to be one of these 4 brands that customers are opting into. So I recommend that we use a multi-targeted approach for these opt-ins. The first, social. Customers that are mobile focused are on their phones, typically on Facebook, Instagram, or even TikTok. Using links that dynamically drive customers to landing pages where they can opt in, or even automatically opening up the messaging app when the link is activated, whether that be a swipe up or a button click. Use your social media audience to drive those subscribers. I also recommend tapping into your email. Sending an email campaign saying, hey, we love that you're a customer. We love that you're subscribed to our newsletter, but we want to make sure we're getting you exactly what you need when you need it. Sign up for our SMS program here. I've also seen some really unique case studies for SMS subscribers. So one brand wanted to put a keyword opt-in at a baseball game, and they put it on the Jumbotron. And it was a brand that did furniture, and they always had couches behind home plate. And they put on the Jumbotron, text this brand's name to this number, and win a chance to win the couch seats at a future game at that venue. So customers were opting in as more of like a raffle to try to join and win these free tickets. You can also use things like keyword opt-in on television, on radio, QR code. It is not the easiest to collect subscribers because it needs to be meaningful. They need to know that when they're joining the program that they're getting something in return. Luckily, we have over 9 different ways to generate subscribers, all of which that could be perfectly fine-tuned based on your customer and what they specifically expect. Let's see. Considering that customers have 1 to 4 brands that they opt into, it'd be interesting to see what quarterly churn looks like, for sure. We want to make sure that your subscribe rate is always higher than your unsubscribe rate. Unsubscribe rates typically hover between 1 to 3% per campaign. That is by nature. Customers, if they get a text, there is a chance they can unsubscribe. We can reduce that unsubscribe rate, again, if we're layering in the personalization. So I recommend personalizing the messages, layering in segments and data points about that customer to stay on the table of those 4 brands. You will, of course, I recommend also having a platform that can look at your unsubscribe rate and where the unsubscribe rate happened. We have an unsubscribe rate dashboard. So that way you know specifically what campaigns drove the highest return, but what campaigns also maybe had a higher unsubscribe rate. You should have that data so you know exactly if and when a customer does unsubscribe. These are really good questions. All right, let's do this one. What are some flows to, what are some of the best flows to kick things off with newly subscribed customers? Should I have different flows for repeat buyers versus first-time buyers? I love this question, and I absolutely recommend it. So first-time buyers versus repeat buyers should be treated differently. You should also look to see who are my repeat buyers. Are they high spenders? Are they in a subscription program with me? Are they VIPs or not? Because when someone who's been a loyal customer opts into your SMS program, it's because they know you and it's because they love you. So based on value-driven engagements, we should treat them a little bit differently than our first-time buyers. Our first-time buyers are opting in probably for some sort of one-time discount. That's the nature of SMS. You're joining a program to get some sort of immediate incentive. So first-time buyers, I recommend offering them that one-time promotion and then asking them communication via SMS about their preferences and what kind of future communication they'd like to receive from you. So first-time buyers or customers or subscribers who are not customers, have a conversational welcome flow with them. Figure out what they specifically expect from you, so that way your future messages are driving repeat buys as opposed to unsubscribes. For your loyal customers, we've got to love them up. We have to make sure that we know who they are. We acknowledge them by first name. If they are a loyalty customer, to let them know how many points they have, what tier they're on. If I am a recharge customer or a subscribing customer, maybe you want to acknowledge like, hey, Thanks for staying subscribed with us. We appreciate that you've been a subscriber and you're regularly using our products. Those kinds of personalization for those repeat buyers is really impactful because I've already invested so much time with you being a repeat buyer that the text should reflect exactly that. I also recommend that within those texts that you are always incorporating dynamic data, and those kinds of flows are really impactful. You could also do different flows based on like Shopify tags if you'd like, or buyer behavior, or if you have a specific segment that you need a customer to qualify for. But overall, first-time buyers versus repeat buyers, I really recommend you do separate flows for each, or at least a flow that can understand the difference between the two. And I think that just about brings me to time. So I want to make sure I provide myself as a resource to you guys. I appreciate all of your questions. They were absolutely amazing. And if you'd like to connect with me, feel free on LinkedIn. I'm Alana Corey from Yotpo, so you're more than welcome to add me on LinkedIn. Happy to throw in a chat to talk about some strategies for your brand. And if there are more questions that I didn't answer that you'd like me to address, feel free to email me. My email is acorey@yotpo.com if you have any additional conversations you'd like to have.